got berated by an entitled mother at the store. She tried to start a fight in the parking lot. A little background: I have diagnosed PTSD, am disabled, and also a service dog handler. My dog is a 7-month-old 55-pound goober named Luna. Yes, a tragedy, but it's also a reference. She's being professionally trained, and I work with her every day so she can help me. She's very well behaved, but she is still a puppy, and her biggest distraction is little kids. So, I take great care when we're doing public access training to make sure she stays focused. This includes intervening if a kid tries to come up to her. However, they're kids and they probably don't know any better, so I'm always gentle in my tone, and I'll educate when I have the mental bandwidth. Earlier today, I went with my mom up to the store to pick up a few things, look at the Halloween stuff, and do some training with Luna. My mom comes to help intervene in case I'm unable. We walk in and start heading towards the grocery section. There's a lady with a small child at the end of one of the aisles, the mom looking at something on the shelf. As we start to walk by, the kid says, "Puppy," and starts walking towards Luna. I looked at the kid, keeping Luna in her heel, and told the kid, "Please don't pet," with a smile, and kept walking. The kid didn't touch her, but I didn't want Luna to get distracted if the kid did reach out. If I'm wrong for doing that, I fully accept my mistake, but I didn't feel I was rude. I did my best to say it as gently as I could, though the mother definitely disagreed. My mom also reiterated right after me, which I thought was unnecessary, "Don't pet, sweetie," but I really don't think either of us yelled or were overly rude. As we continue down, the kid started crying and the lady goes, "Don't worry, they're just fucking bitches who don't know how to speak to children," quite loudly. In response, I said, "Oh, so telling a child please don't pet is wrong? Okay then, hun. She's a service dog, not a normal dog," to which the lady goes, "Yeah, you have PSD, I can tell. It's stated on Luna's vest." I said, I think I said something along the line of, "Have a good night, lady," and called her a dipstick. I had to go find a quiet place for a minute because I was shaking from anxiety. There was a nice couple who asked why she was talking to us like that, and they apologized I had to deal with it and complimented Luna. Luna did her job and helped to ground me again so we could continue about our day. By the time we were ready to leave, I had calmed down entirely. It was about 40 minutes after the encounter when we were leaving, so I didn't think she'd still be there, or she would just be trying to go home like everyone else. Little did I know, while leaving the store, I hear, "There's that beach." She was across the street on a median in the parking lot in front of the doors, now coming towards us ranting and raving. I told her to shove it and go pound sand while I tried to keep walking. She then starts talking about how this is why you're traumatized, generally being ignorant and hateful, calling me a hoe, a bitch, and whatever else. That's where I did snap a bit and told her, "Fuck you, lady," and flipped her off. She starts picking a fight with me, hitting her chest saying, "Yeah? Let's go. Let's go." And I didn't even acknowledge it because obviously I'm not going to fight with anyone over something like this, let alone when I had Luna with me. Her kid was trailing behind her as she stood in the road this whole situation. She said, "Never talk like that to my child or any mother's child ever again." And I'm like, "Lady, I just asked your kid not to pet my service dog." She changed her story then, saying we approached the kid and yelled at them, that the kid didn't even touch my dog. To which I was just baffled and said I didn't yell in the slightest. Also, the kid didn't touch my dog, that's the point. I didn't want my dog potentially knocking her small child over because Luna has the coordination of a panda, thinks she's tiny, and wants to say hi. She then threatened me saying, "You better watch your back, my husband is coming," and I ended the interaction saying, "Good for you. Have a good one, hun," as sarcastically as I could muster. As I don't have much experience dealing with people like this and am learning not to be a doormat, I'd appreciate any advice on how to handle these situations better. I'm pretty certain I didn't take the best approach here and acknowledge it may have not been a time to speak up for myself. I'm open to learning from my mistakes, I want to get better, and I know this won't be my last time dealing with entitlement. Hope you got something out of this post, and thank you for any input. TLDR. Entitled mother gets mad at me for asking her kid not to pet my service dog, calls me a beach. I call her out, and she tries to fight me in the parking lot after we leave the store.
I don't think I have a choice but to sell the house my mom and brother live in. I'm currently 29 years old. In 2020, my wife, then GF, We're moving from a house that was in my name to a new place that we got in her name. My mom and my brother were to move into that house under the agreement that they would pay the mortgage plus pay for any issues or repairs that came up, and I wouldn't be responsible for any expenses there. I made the mistake of not getting that in writing. My mom even agreed to pay $100 extra on the house payment so I could make a profit. Fast forward to 2022 and their house payment went up more than they were paying, but I was nice enough to cover the extra. It was like $60 a month. In the meantime, I was told that my brother would get the house and loan in his name when he got his credit cards down. Fast forward to present day and their house payment went up about $250 more than it originally was. It's $700 a month, due to taxes and escrow. My mom is now threatening me by saying she can't afford it and I'm being a bad person for making her pay more, despite taxes being out of my hands. I was also taken off of the car insurance plan and cell phone bill plan that I've been on with my mom since I was a teenager because it's cheaper as a bundle. My mom told me that I should be responsible for any repairs since it's in my name, even though that wasn't our original agreement. So I brought up just having the house in my brother's name, and I was told that instead of paying his credit cards down, he ran them up to $13,000. He was literally doing the opposite of what he told me. I feel disrespected because if I wasn't related to them, they wouldn't be doing this. My mom hasn't spoken to me in over a week all because his house payment went up to $700 and now I have to worry about her just straight up not paying me. This is on top of getting my wife's car insurance plan and getting my own cell phone plan. This has also led to disagreements between my wife and I know she comes first, even before my mom and brother, so I just want to get the house out of my name and be done with it. I'm realizing the only solution I have is to just sell it. I'm looking for alternative advice or just confirmation that I'm doing the right thing for my wife and myself. Some extra details are that I didn't make them pay a security deposit due to our agreement that it was essentially their house. No pet deposit either. Since then they've gotten another dog and let him pee on the carpet. The central air also broke and they haven't gotten it fixed. If there are any other questions, I'll be glad to give more details.
The child who wanted to fly. This is one of my favorite stories about parents who think they don't need to pay shops for items their child breaks. For a time, I managed a small retail shop in a mall that catered to women of childbearing age, but did not sell toys or items meant for children. However, the items we did sell were eye-catching, whimsical, and brightly colored, so small children often wanted to hold or play with them. At the time of this story, we had a display with a realistic-looking hot air balloon suspended from the ceiling over a low-floor display that had a tiered shelving unit in the middle, kind of looked like stairs. A mother with a small boy of about 4 or 5 years old and a baby in a double stroller walked in, and the kid immediately ran over to the display and said, "Mom, look," while pointing to the hot air balloon. The mother, who was clearly checked out from parenting, said, "Yes, pretty," and started to browse items in another area with her baby and stroller. Unfortunately, the mother and the double stroller were positioned such that it blocked the register's view of her son, so I couldn't see what he was doing until I started to see the hot air balloon shake. This kid had climbed up on the floor display and up the tiered shelving unit in the middle and was trying to get into the hot air balloon basket. Obviously, the hanging display was not meant to take so much weight, so when he pulled on the hot air balloon's basket, it pulled the entire display down on the kid, the shelving, and the floor display. Luckily, no one was hurt, but his antics damaged the ceiling and damaged quite a few of the shop wares. The mother, after determining her child was unhurt and just scared, started to leave. Asked her to stay until I could tally up the damaged items so she could pay for them. When she protested, I told her I could take her name and phone number and a photocopy of her license and have the shop owner contact her for payment if she needed to tend to her kids right away. She then claimed our display wasn't child-safe and she shouldn't have to pay. I had to explain to her that none of our displays are child-safe, as our shop is not a children's shop, and again asked how she wanted to handle payment for the damaged wares. She kept arguing with me that she didn't need to pay at all until mall security showed up to write up the incident for insurance purposes. I had called the shop owner to let her know what had happened, and she had called for mall security to come by. The mother told security in her statement that I had been negligent in watching her child. This ended up in civil court. I didn't have to go since my statement and deposition were enough, But the mother ended up having to pay for not only the damaged items, which in total was around $800, but also the damage to the ceiling and display and the owner's lawyer's fees to a total of about $17,000. Suffocating mother. I, 23F, am finishing my master's degree while still living with my parents. My parents are very suffocating, my mother more so than my father. I have always known the mood in our house to be dependent on what's bothering my mother. If she's angry, she will bottle it up until it explodes instead of addressing things directly. Today, she asked me to pick up an ingredient after my lecture today. I decided to go and eat something after my lecture with a friend and texted her that I would be doing so. I get a passive-aggressive text back. I will be making something else then. So I call her to tell her I'm sorry. I didn't know she needed them for dinner. She just hung up. It's such a recurring issue, where I need to update her on everything I'm doing, but she doesn't do the same, which makes it so I don't know what's going on, and I come out like the bad guy. During arguments with my father, she will refuse to understand what she's doing wrong, and will drag me into their arguments. What did I do wrong? Why is your dad treating me this way? I feel so suffocated, and I don't know what to do. I can't leave yet for another year at least.
My father tries to reach out to me after not being in my life for 18 years. I'm 18M and I have only met my father once very recently. We have communicated via WhatsApp a few times before over the years, but understandably it felt being forced to speak with a relative who's basically a stranger. He has sent money before, and while it's not little enough to say he did absolutely nothing, it wasn't enough to say he was there for me financially either. We're talking $200 like every 7 months. IDK the exact time frame. When I met him, he was saying how much he loves me and tried to explain why he wasn't in my life. While I understand that things happen, it doesn't change the fact that he wasn't there. I am not too fond of him as a person, but he does try to reach out to me every now and then. Since I last spoke with him, it's been 3 months. He messaged me just now asking if I'm okay. TBH, I didn't reply to his message before this one. I'm wondering, should I give him another chance?
Big thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I really appreciate the support. And please hit the subscribe button.